cafeteria now. We're going to start the meeting now.
Welcome, everybody. If you can hear me, come on in a little bit closer so that we don't have to shout too much. This is an amazing turnout.
Just the beginning.
This is just the beginning. We have many more people who are going to be flowing in throughout the rest of the day. And so it's really critical that so many of you are here right now for this orientation of the day, because as new people come, you can help get them on board with what we're doing today, which is really something pretty amazing to have so many people from all around Vermont come to the House of the People, the House of Democracy. So it's going to be an amazing day, and amazing things can happen. So thank you for being here. Our goal today was to convince Gay Symington to not send the resolution to its death in a committee. And before we even came as a movement, we generated so much momentum that we've already accomplished that goal, and they're taking it up this afternoon at the 1 o'clock time. So that in itself is a victory, but we have a lot of lobbying to do. These reps who are asking to vote to support the Constitution, they need to hear from us rather than from the top down, okay? They're getting messages from Washington, they're getting messages from Peter Welch, from Gay Symington to not vote for this. So we need to generate a lot of positive support for them to vote for this. We've gotten really great feedback about our movement because we are intelligent, we're caring, we're supportive, we're positive. So we want to really keep that tone today when we're talking with them, and we want to keep things really civil and respectful, even if we disagree with some of the people that we talk with. Okay. The plan for the day is we'll meet here until about 10:45. At 10:45, we're going to be going to probably the House chamber itself. We had reserved room 11, which can only hold 100 people. And if we have more than 100 people, then we are invited to the House chamber when we can sit in the seats that the legislators will be sitting in this afternoon when they make this important decision. Yeah. And we will be thanking the Senate for their vote. We want to publicly thank the Senate for what they did, which is amazing. And a little over a week ago, we were told that they would not, no way, take that up. So we'll be meeting with them at 11 o'clock. Gay Symington will come and join us. And we will have from 11 to 11:30 to speak with Gay Symington about this issue. I think we're also going to try to invite our reps to come at that time to hear the discussion. So some of you haven't sent out these slips yet. These slips are to let your representative know that you're here to support this today and that you'd love to meet with them at lunch. If some of you are still waiting to fill these out, you could write over and on the back say, join us in the House chamber at 11.
Senate President Peter Shulman issued a statement saying he was thrilled that so many people came out and it really made the difference. What we have in Vermont is an illustration of how democracy is supposed to work. So we're assembled here to thank, first of all, to thank our senators. And I hope some of them are here. Are you here? So Liza, come up and talk about the senators.
Does someone have a yellow or green folder, Mike? Helping carry something? Great. They heard about this meeting very last minute, and so they are engaged in other things, but very appreciative. They've heard from many of you in the last few days, thanking them for their brave and courageous action to support our Constitution. And we are going to present them with a framed photo of the Founding Fathers. And it says, "The Founding Fathers and Vermonters commend Senator so-and-so for upholding the Constitution." And we have special ones for Senator Shumlin, Senator White, and Senator McCormick, who really took the lead. While we are waiting a few moments for Gay Sanita to come, let me tell you how beautiful you all look sitting in this chamber. I have a statement here from Howard Zinn, historian and author, commending the Vermont State Senate. Let me read to you his statement. "Vermont is setting an admirable example to the rest of the country, as so many of its town meetings as well as the state senate, have voted for the impeachment of Bush and Cheney. Certainly, the policies of this administration meet the constitutional requirement for impeachment for high crimes and misdemeanors. What could be a higher crime than to send our young halfway around the world at the cost of thousands of their lives to invade and destroy another country, resulting in hundreds of thousands of deaths in Iraq, and bringing upon our nation the indignation of the rest of the world? Vermont's actions represent democracy at its best." This is a quote by Dave Lindorf. He is an award-winning investigative reporter and has been in journalism for 33 years. "What just happened in Vermont went down exactly the way things should in democracy. Citizens raised their voices, passed local resolutions, and demanded that their state senators act. The hard work of so many Vermonters is beginning to pay off. Vermont may be remembered as the state that saved the Republic." Many of you know our friend and ally, John Nichols, the editor of The Nation and author of the book, The Genius of Impeachment. When he heard the news, he issued this statement: "Old Thomas Jefferson would be rather proud of Vermont today, but I am prouder still. You have accomplished so much, and you have made so much more possible. The Republic rests a little easier tonight, but only to gain the strength to renew and advance the struggle tomorrow. With the words, 'As Vermont goes, so goes the nation.'"
The resolution in the House of Representatives that was originally introduced in February had 20 co-sponsors. The lead proponent was Darrell
First off, I just want to say thank you so much. The reason I wanted to take these 30 seconds is to thank you, because without you folks, this would not be happening. I'll tell you that right now. It takes some people with courage, like myself and a few of the co-sponsors, to finally put this administration's feet to the fire. But without, and I'm talking about the Bush administration, but with your help here, helping our leaders here, they have listened. The Senate listened, that's why it was passed. Now I hope the same thing happens this afternoon. But I did want to take this time to thank you all so much for taking the opportunity to come here, see how this House operates. And the last thing I say before I leave, and it's going to be hard for some of you, I think, when the debates get going, but please be very respectful of the building you're in and the people you're going to be dealing with. You can whoop and holler and be happy that we're here when we're making a difference in this world, but please be respectful to all the other members that aren't going to be in the same, you know, they might need a little boot in the butt a little bit, but do it respectfully, okay? But I applaud you, and I thank you all so much for taking the time to come here and support us and what we're trying to do for Vermont. Thanks again.
Before I welcome Gay Symington, who's arrived here in the House, I'd like to announce that the count indicated that there were 235 of us.
280 on the second count.
Thank you very much. Did you count the balcony? Did you include the balcony?
No.
No. Okay, 280 and counting. I'd like to welcome Gay Symington to this meeting. This is her house, but we're happy that she invited us to meet here because we had too many people to fit in any other room in this State House. And so we thank you for allowing us to have the privilege of meeting here in this room with you, and we'd like you to welcome you to come up and participate in the meeting. Liza, before Gay speaks, should we respond to the points that she made in her statement?
I think many people haven't heard her statement, so let's let Gay speak.
Gay, do you want to present your statement?
Thank you. I just want to correct one thing that Jimmy just said. This isn't my house and this isn't my podium. This is your house and it's your podium. I've been elected to be the speaker, but this is it's a privilege to hold that position for a term, or now my second term. But there's a tradition here, and it's the people's house that you're here in part of, and I appreciate that you're taking part and using it in that way. And I will briefly not read. If people want my official statement, it's available at my office. You're welcome to pick it up or ask for a copy. If you emailed me, you probably had one version or another of it given to you. Let me, though, express to you that I believe that I share the outrage at the direction that our current federal government is taking our country. Our international policies, our environmental policies, our social policies do not reflect my values or yours, and terrify me as I think of the world that we are passing on to our kids and to the kids that our kids are going to raise. Much of the work of this Vermont House is very much about what kind of a state do we want to have our children raise their children in. And that's why we focus in this House and the Senate on issues that we all acknowledge are very complicated and very challenging. But we know we have to make the decisions we choose to make or choose not to make now will affect those generations to come. And I acknowledge the extent to which the federal government affects those choices and those decisions we make in this House. And that's why early in this session, despite the fact that I'm generally reluctant in the House to take up issues that can be characterized as federal concerns, this House and the Senate took a strong stand and debated all afternoon a resolution calling for the withdrawal of troops from Iraq to commence immediately. We, as legislators, needed to, after that debate, which was partisan, get back to working together on energy policy, on healthcare policy, on property taxes, and on all the other issues that you want us to work on. And that took not just time, but energy. And for that reason, I have been reluctant to bring another debate that would be divisive and focus on national issues to this citizen legislature. It's clear to me from your energy and from the energy outside in the state that we do need to have this come to a debate on the floor, and it will this afternoon come up for a debate. And I oppose that resolution, so now it will be quieter. And I'd like to briefly tell you why. I stood last fall side by side with then candidate Welch and then candidate Sanders and Senator Leahy, articulating why we want our country back, why we need a change in our federal delegation and a change in our country, a change in direction, a change in values. And they made promises about how they would approach holding our government accountable for the direction and the errors the direction that our federal government has taken and the direction that we're headed, and for the fact that we are no longer respected internationally, and for the fact that we've pretended that global warming was a hoax. And we made that change, not just in Vermont by electing folks who represent our values and priorities, but around the country. We have new leadership in our House, new leadership in our Senate, and we see the results. And step by step, we are... You see the results in that you have a chair of the Judiciary Committee who is actually holding hearings on the actions of Mr. Gonzalez and the extent to which he has politicized our Justice Department. You see it in the hearings that Senator Boxer has, and that scientists are back at the table in discussions about the challenges ahead of us in climate change. You see it in the work of Senator Levin and the hearings on the way that we have been misled in getting ourselves into the war in Iraq and the way that we've treated prisoners. And those facts are being heard in our country through the course of business, through the course, and in my opinion, Americans are listening. Americans from red states, Americans from blue states, Americans from purple states. We are all paying attention and listening. And my feeling, it is my belief, that if we now begin to also turn that work into the conclusion of impeachment, that it will be the blue states that continue to pay attention and the red states will not listen. any longer, but we'll see it as a partisan attack, and we'll see it and we'll not only not listen, but even worse, rally around their guy. And we will not continue on the path that we're on. We risk the path, being able to continue on the path we're on. Our country is finally learning and has the opportunity to learn from these mistakes. And I think the right justice for our country is served by moving ahead with that process, not putting on the table now the conclusion of impeachment. Allow the process to continue. Allow this new leadership to live up to the promises that they made when we elected them and when Americans elected them, and let the process follow its course. And that's why I oppose this resolution, and I hope that it will be defeated. And I say that understanding that I disappoint you. I say that respecting that you feel differently. And I ask that you see, I articulate this because I think it's important you understand, I think there's some common values here. We're coming to different conclusions about what the right step is at this point in this process. And I respect your role in bringing this up, and I do appreciate that you're here and that you're paying attention and that and where you want to go. I want to make sure that our country gets back on track, gets back to a place of being respected, and that never again do we make the mistakes, and never again do we allow someone to be elected into the position of president or vice president who looks, acts, talks, and holds the values of those who are currently in the